much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around, since city's cold and empty, no one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I just, hey, hey, hey. I'm running out of time, 'cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road in overdrive, baby. Oh, the city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I just. I'm just coming back to let you know I can never say it on the phone. They'll never let you go this time. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Hey, hey, I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I saw the fire in your eyes. I saw the fire when I look into your eyes. You tell me things you wanna try. I know temptation is the devil in disguise. You risk it all to feel alive, yeah. You're offering yourself to me like sacrifice. You said you do this all the time. Tell me you love me if I bring you to the light. It's like a dream, what she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath away. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me closer, want me to hold on to you tight. You brought me closer, feel the heat between your thighs. You're way too young to end your life. Girl, I don't wanna be the one who pays the price. Ooh, it's like a dream, what she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I get drunk, wake up, I'm wasted still. I realize the time that I wasted here. I feel like you can't feel the way I feel. I'll be up if you can't be right here. You can't be right, yeah. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. When I'm away from you, I miss your touch. You're the reason I believe in love. For me to trust, and I'm afraid that I'ma f it up. Ain't no way that I can leave you stranded, cause you ain't never left me empty-handed. And you know that I can't live without you. So baby, stay. I'll be f***ed up if you can't be right here. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay, yeah. I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed, even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay, need you to stay. I need you to stay, need you to stay. Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals, like animals, moles. And maybe you think that you can hide. I can smell yourself for miles. Just like animals, animals, like animals, moles. Baby, I'm so what you trying to do to me? It's like we can't stop, we're enemies. And when we get low, when I'm inside you, you're like a drug that's killing me. I cut you out entirely. Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals, like animals more. Baby, you think that you can hide. I can smell your scent for miles. Just like animals, animals, like animals more. Baby, don't tell no lie, la la la. You can't deny, na na na. That means this side, 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 side.
Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Johns Hopkins University Convocation. The ceremony will begin momentarily. Please take your seats. May we have your attention, please, for the following public safety announcement. Today's ceremony is being carried out under the guidance of Johns Hopkins University's public health experts and in accordance with state and local regulations. In the event of an emergency, follow the directions of the overhead announcements and the instructions of the event staff and security officers. If necessary, gather your belongings, remain calm, and walk, do not run, to the nearest exit point. It may not be the same way you entered. The ceremony is about to begin. Please silence your cell phones. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine Jin.
Bria Hicks.
Isioma Wamier.
Ryan from Northern Virginia.
From Irving, Texas.
Princeton, New Jersey.
I'm from India.
And I'll be studying molecular and cell biology.
And I'm excited to attend Hopkins in the fall.
Blue Jays, I can't wait to join the crew.
I'm proud to be attending one of the greatest universities in the world. The world now.
Hello, my name is Frank. I'm from Beijing, China.
From Miami, Florida.
Seattle, Washington.
And I'm from Abu Dhabi, UAE.
I am just excited to be part of the Blue Jay family.
And I chose Hopkins for their research opportunities
because of their amazing computer science program.
I'm majoring in art history,
engineering, or math, or music.
Becoming a cardiovascular surgeon.
I wanted to take a risk on myself and challenge myself.
This school is at the very forefront of medical innovation, and
as a person that likes research and the medical field, who doesn't want to go to Hopkins?
Hi, my name is Natalia Dugan. I'm from San Diego, California.
Hi, my name is Andrea.
My name is Jennifer Taylor.
I can't wait to meet all of you in person.
And I chose Hopkins because of the passionate community.
And learning about so many different cultures and backgrounds. Woo!
I'm really looking forward to the first year seminars and also just meeting a lot of new people.
I can't wait to meet the rest of the class of 2025.
I can't wait to meet all of you. Go Hop!
Go Blue Jays!
And I can't wait to see all of the amazing things that we accomplish together.
My name is Himanshi Sharma and I'm from India.
My name is Jaya Hampkins.
What's up, JHU?
I look forward to learning new things.
Forward to exploring new perspectives both inside the classroom and in the city of Baltimore.
Because I have lived in the same town for my entire life.
Unique opportunities that I couldn't get anywhere else.
And I chose Hopkins because it will give me the tools I need.
Because of its highly motivated student body.
I get to work with world-class professors.
Among some of the brightest students in the world.
Hi, my name is Isabella.
My name is Araceli. I'm a Mexican-American citizen.
This is the best place in the world to study neuroscience.
And meeting some amazing new people along the way to build some lasting friendships with.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler.
Braden Flowers.
Tracy Wing.
And I'm from South Korea.
From Shanghai, China.
I hope to get a better understanding of my passions and make lifelong friends who laugh, cry, and goof around with me.
I feel like I would have the best opportunities here.
It's because of its strong public health major.
The emphasis of the university places on student research opportunities.
Hi, I'm Willa.
Vincent Castillo.
And I'm from Chicago.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
I'm looking forward to getting to know some amazing people.
Learn more about myself and the world.
And living the next 4 years to the fullest.
Meeting my fellow
fellow Blue Jays.
Becoming a Baltimore foodie.
Just exploring the city of Baltimore and making new friends.
And win some national titles for the cross country and track and field teams.
Can't wait to start here at Johns Hopkins.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashish Nala.
Sophia Lavolo. Kaylee Elizabeth, or just Elizabeth.
My name is Jonathan.
And I'm coming to you from Saudi Arabia.
I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
And I come from Lebanon.
In Ghana, we have a lot of ethnic groups, and it's really nice how we all live together. I would really love to see other people's cultures, learn from them.
Be in an environment where I get to meet people that also are really excited about learning new things.
Interacting and engaging with like-minded individuals who I can learn from.
I feel like it's going to be a good adventure.
Joining a community that cares so much about the world around it.
Break barriers in so many new fields.
Ayubowan, maging ang Shaman Sursingha. That was hello, my name is Shaman Sursingha in Sinhala.
Привет, меня зовут Катя Глушкова. Hi, my name is Katya Glushkova. I'm from Moscow, Russia.
Super excited about joining this great, diverse community at Johns Hopkins University.
Hello, my name is Wilson.
It's Colin Gibson.
My name is Jackie.
My name is Shola.
I'm from Mustang, Oklahoma.
I'm from Lima, Peru.
I am really looking forward to exploring the East Coast, watching the leaves change color in the fall, and playing in the snow.
Like any other Californian, I'm very excited to finally see the 4 seasons.
Meeting a wide variety of people.
Exploring all of Baltimore and getting food with y'all.
Amazing internships and independent studies. Being able to integrate myself in the Hopkins culture.
There is a culture of excellence at Hopkins,
where everyone is encouraged to pursue anything and everything they can get their hands on.
Go Blue Jays!
What I'm most looking forward to is meeting new people and getting involved in the Hopkins community.
Be excited with what I'm doing every day. Like, not every day.
Can't wait to meet everyone.
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew. I'm from Utah.
I'm Bertina from Taipei, Taiwan.
Originally from Nigeria.
I am Jalil.
I'm Navarsak Italian from Armenia.
My name is Sagar Stogi.
I'm an international student all the way from Malaysia.
I really just want to explore the community, both academic and social at Hopkins.
To meet amazing new people and run the track and cross country teams.
One thing that I'm most excited about going to Hopkins is meeting people who are equally passionate and ambitious and ready to change the world.
I hope to be able to get to know and to learn from all my talented peers.
I wanted to be in a place where all the students are ambitious but also supportive, and Hopkins provides that.
I'm most looking forward to surrounding myself by driven people.
To have a positive impact on the Baltimore community.
And attending one of the best universities in the world.
It's been my absolute dream school since I was a very young girl.
Hopkins seemed like the best place for me as an engineer going into the health field.
I feel like the flexibility will allow me to explore my interests.
And just get a better foothold in all the fields that I'm really interested in and want to make a difference in.
I am proud to be part of the class of 2025
and to learn a lot and have the time of my life.
And so I'm very excited to spend my next 4 years here at Johns Hopkins. Go Blue Jays! My experiences with other incoming freshmen have been nothing but positive and only make me even more excited to call Homewood Campus my new home for the next 4 years.
At the end of my journey, hopefully I come out with lifelong friends and I build connections in the outside world and hopefully becoming a successful pediatrician.
I cannot wait to make so many new friends and meet everyone.
I'm so excited to start Johns Hopkins and I can't wait for the semester to start.
I'm so excited to meet you all.
I can't wait to join the nest. Congratulations, everyone.
It was nice meeting all of you. Bye-bye.
And I hope that at graduation, I'll be proud of how far I've come. I'm hoping to not have any regrets, and I'm hoping to have a lot of memories that I can look fondly back upon.
What I hope to accomplish during my time at Hopkins is to not cringe at this video 4 years from now during commencement.
Good evening. I'm Sunil Kumar, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. I'm honored to serve as the Chief Marshal for your convocation, the ceremony that welcomes you, our newest Blue Jays, into the academic community as Johns Hopkins starts its 146th year. The ceremony will now come to order. Please rise and join me in welcoming three of our Johns Hopkins a cappella groups, the All-Nighters, the Octopodes, and the Sirens, who will perform the national anthem.
Twilights last gleaming.
Please be seated. Hi y'all, my name is Kaya Viola, and for the past 2 years, I've had the pleasure of serving as a special projects coordinator for the orientation and first year experience team. When I first arrived at Hopkins a little over 3 years ago, I never could have imagined that I'd be standing on this stage speaking to all of you. But I am so grateful for those who've encouraged me and brought me to this moment. And tonight, as you embark on this exciting journey, I hope to leave you with that same encouragement. To the class of 2025, to the fall 2021 transfer students, and to all the family and friends who are here with us virtually tonight, I'm truly honored to welcome you to Johns Hopkins University. Convocation marks the end of one of my favorite weeks of the entire year, new student orientation. Over the past few months, countless people, from the orientation team to your first year mentors, to university faculty, staff, and leadership, have been hard at work to make this week something that you'll hopefully always remember. I hope you learned something new, made a new friend, and explored one of the many amazing resources Hopkins has to offer. I want to leave you with this thought. Not every day or week will be as exciting as this. You'll also be faced with tough, sad, or even disappointing days. And on those days, I hope you'll always remember that you are meant to be here and a valued member of our community. Those moments will be part of the growth process and are just as valuable as defining who you are as the positive moments. In these moments, I want to encourage you to find 3 things that made you smile that day. It could be spending quality time with a friend, that the FSC was serving your favorite dish, or your family called just to say hi. These little things are what will get you through those days. And if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm always here. This is only just the beginning. You are ready to launch into our community, to discover your passions, explore what excites you, and make your mark on Hopkins and the world. Welcome home. At this time, I'd like to introduce my friend, Mehek Ali, the Student Government Association Executive President. Mehek.
Good evening and welcome to Hopkins. You are about to embark on one of the most transformative journeys of your life. You have worked so hard to get here, and I can already tell every single one of you deserves their spot. We grow up watching our favorite characters experience in college, picking between 2 dream schools, competing in a cappella tournaments, and being bad neighbors. It can feel like you already have a sense of what college is like. But what these shows and movies don't capture are the nuances of actually becoming a college student. The struggles of being away from home for the first time, the excitement at the endless all-you-can-eat cafeterias, and the camaraderie that comes from staying up all night in Brody finishing a group project. These hardships and successes bring you one step closer to becoming the person you want to become. When you commit to JHU, you are no longer just one student, but are part of something bigger. A community of scholars, a community of leaders, a community of game changers, a community that will propel you into the future. You and your classmates will become pioneers, shaping the world. You all will pave your own path, and you now have a whole school full of like-minded peers and revered mentors at your back, ready with the opportunities and resources needed to support you and celebrate your success. So be ambitious and be bold. We got you. I'm beyond excited to see what this class will do in the coming years. I'll leave you all with a quote from one of the greatest lyricists of our generation. Stay in school, work hard, it pays off. Nicki Minaj. Welcome to the Johns Hopkins University. It is now my pleasure to introduce Anuj Mittal, a 2002 graduate of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences and member of the university's Board of Trustees.
Good evening. I'm not going to compete with Nikki, so I'm just going to say hello to all of you. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees, welcome to Johns Hopkins. Your fellow Blue Jays, myself included, can attest that the university is truly a remarkable place. More than 2 decades ago, I was in your position, excited and a little bit nervous to embark on this new journey. And today, I stand here again as a new trustee, excited and a little bit nervous to embark on the next part of this journey at Hopkins. To mark your entrance into Johns Hopkins, someone presented a Blue Jay feather to you. Today is a proud moment for them. This is your family and your friends. They are part of the community that we have all had to help us get to where we are today. This pinning marks their connection to Johns Hopkins as well. We'll now show the video. You, our newest Blue Jays, by every measure, are an accomplished group. To get here, you have to be able to dream big and have the intellect and resilience to see those dreams come true. I'm confident that each and every one of you are up for this new adventure. Let me pause and acknowledge that COVID has changed many of your plans, but it did not stop you. In fact, it did not even slow you down. And it is in that spirit that has brought you to Johns Hopkins. Here, you will have the opportunity to be and do whatever you want. Some of you know exactly what you want to study, like my friend and fellow trustee, Rajiv. Or some of you might be like me, and you arrived at Hopkins with no idea of what you want to do in the real world. For those like me, I assure you that at Hopkins you can learn the hard and soft skills to create an impactful future. No matter what you choose, when you receive your Hopkins diploma, you will be prepared to make a difference in the world. The trustees join your family and friends in looking forward to all that you will accomplish, not only throughout your time at Hopkins, but over the course of your lives. We wish you the best as you begin your Hopkins journey. I now invite the Provost Phillips to come forward.
On behalf of the entire admissions team, welcome to Johns Hopkins University. I'm David Phillips. I'm the university's Vice Provost for Admissions and Financial Aid. You are impassioned in your pursuit of knowledge, leaders in your schools and communities, and a group that will greatly contribute to this university, to the community, to Baltimore, and to the world. Not only the most academically powerful, you bring your unique perspectives to campus from all around the globe. As a group, you represent 6 out of 7 continents. We're working on Antarctica. 46 countries and 48 states, from cities as far away as Bangkok to as close as our hometown of Baltimore, and from countries as varied as Argentina, Uganda, Vietnam, New Zealand, and Pakistan, to name a few. You bring to our community an array of backgrounds, cultures, interests, and activities. Before the pandemic, you were more involved than any class that came before you. Virtually everyone in the class participated in some sort of community service or volunteer activity. 42% of you were involved in political activities like student government, social justice issues, and environmental issues. Well over half worked at jobs in your communities, mostly to help your families. 79% of you are artists, expressing and defining culture through music, painting, theater, photography, acting, dance, film, and many others. The vast majority were involved with athletics at either the varsity, JV, or recreational level, with many doing more than one sport. And perhaps most noteworthy, 18% of our incoming students are intrepid trailblazers, being the first in their family to attend college. And as impressive as this level of involvement is, you also leaned in during the pandemic. Many activities were canceled, but many of you found ways to contribute safely. From organizing fundraisers for COVID relief efforts, to researching the virus itself, from working on technology to predict infections, to ensuring the well-being of neighbors and community members. You made a positive impact on your community and the world and demonstrated the core ethos of Johns Hopkins by stepping up when it was needed most. And now, I'm extremely proud to present you officially to President Ron Daniels. President Daniels, will you please join me at the lectern? Mr.
Provost, so just before we go further, you didn't mention Canadians. There are Canadians in this class?
There are a few Canadians, right?
You can do better.
Mr. President, I am pleased to present to you the first-year students who make up the class of 2025 and our transfer students who are members of the classes of 2023 and 2024. As mentioned, impassioned in their pursuit of knowledge, leaders in their schools and communities, and a group that will greatly contribute to the Johns Hopkins community, Baltimore, and the world. I look forward to seeing all they accomplish.
Thank you, Vice Provost Phillips. Thank you to Kai, Mahek, and Trustee Mattel for your words, and also to the Octopodes, Sirens, and the All-Nighters for their stellar performance. And thanks, of course, to the entire orientation team for doing such a phenomenal job at pulling off this event under truly extraordinary circumstances. So now, without further ado, let me welcome, live and in person, the great class of 2025. It's kind of a 6. Let's try that again. The great class of 2025, along with all our superb transfer students to Johns Hopkins University. Better. So this is a special moment. We're all here on campus together, and I'm truly, truly delighted. This evening marks your formal entrance into an academic community devoted to the relentless pursuit of knowledge and truth. So it is only fitting that my remarks to you this evening will be about UFOs. Yes, UFOs. Now, if you've been reading the news this summer, you know the question of whether extraterrestrials are among us is no longer the sole remit of Hollywood screenwriters and Reddit threads. This June, the Pentagon released a report about their investigation into 143 encounters between U.S. Navy pilots and what they now call unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Now, the report was inconclusive, but it didn't rule out extraterrestrial technology as one explanation for the mysterious encounters. Which means, this is from the president of Johns Hopkins University to interpret this for you, that it is entirely possible that the visitors from other solar systems are walking, hovering, or rather flying among us, perhaps now. I immediately wondered, like so many before me, what will they be like? Are we talking gremlins? Or Grogu? Or, if we're very lucky, my new puppy, Barney. And most important, would we be able to communicate effectively and productively with them across what would almost certainly be vast differences of experience, language, and biology? To think through such questions, I found myself turning to some of the great works of philosophy and psychology, like Hannah Arendt's The Human Condition, Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus, and of course, Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone. Now, for those of you who didn't grow up watching the show, as I did, The Twilight Zone was a touchstone for philosophical inquiry, giving viewers weekly half-hour thought experiments that, to put it colloquially, blew our minds. Think The Good Place, but in black and white and infected by the paranoia and suspicion of the Cold War we were living through back then. Alien visitations were a common trope in the show. One particularly resonant episode begins when a quiet suburban neighborhood collectively witnesses an unexplainable flash in the sky, which they dismiss as a meteor.
What was that, a meteor?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Suddenly, their cars won't start, and the power goes out. A local kid blames creatures from outer space and suggests that one of the families on the block might in fact be extraterrestrials in disguise. The neighbors stay calm for a few minutes, but then strange phenomena begin to mount. Machines turn on and off. Lights in some houses come on while others stay dark. The neighbors start to doubt and mistrust each other. Then they begin to turn on one another. They suspect the aliens are among them. Violence erupts, and by the end of the night, the entire neighborhood descends into chaos and anarchy. As the episode ends, we see a real flying saucer and the two actual extraterrestrial visitors who had orchestrated the power outages as a way to test their theory that humans are always on the verge of turning against rather than towards one another. When faced with a few perceptual inconsistencies and a little misinformation, the humans played a type. Or as the two aliens say,
they pick the most dangerous enemy they can find. And it's themselves. All we need to do is sit back and watch.
The most dangerous enemy is themselves. Now, although this episode aired in 1960, it feels very relevant to 2021. And frankly, we don't seem to need alien invaders to nudge us along the path of distrust with potentially disastrous consequences. The data don't lie. Surveys show that the number of Americans who believe that most people can be trusted is at its lowest point in decades. Moreover, our political and cultural identities have become so hardened that researchers have found that all of us, no matter how informed we are, instinctively dismiss facts that don't accord with what our group is supposed to believe. And when we hear viewpoints that are different or opposed to our own, we are ever more likely to attack the people making them rather than arguing with the ideas that are being expressed. We're reaching a point where not only do we not see eye to eye with our neighbors, but we in fact occupy two entirely different realities. We're alien to one another and at serious risk of living in a twilight zone of our own making. But I believe our version, the JHU version of the Twilight Zone episode, doesn't have to end this way. We can together write a different story. And we're counting on you and what you learn and do here at Hopkins to help. Tonight, you officially enter an academic community devoted to pursuing truth through fact-based research, reason, and vigorous open-minded debate. A community that believes that we can access a shared conception of reality through through the combined cumulative efforts of a vast network of scholars working in tandem around the world. A community that understands that creating knowledge is not a solo endeavor, but a communal one. And this is also a community that welcomes, nay, insists upon critique and insight from people whose backgrounds, beliefs, and fields of study differ from our own in order to arrive at a common understanding of the world we all inhabit. A community that one early Hopkins professor and leading philosopher of the 19th century declared is, and I quote, capable of a definite increase of knowledge because it is a community without definite limits. Now, imagine, if you will, what would happen if that Twilight Zone episode occurred here, on this community, on Homewood campus in 2021. One evening, on a late summer day, kind of like this one, strange things start to happen. Lights go off. Lights go off. And on again. I knew we'd get it right. This one's going to be a little trickier, but I'm going to give it a shot. The Gilman Tower bell rings in the middle of the night. And our chief risk officer confirms that there is no logical explanation. That's correct, John.
President Daniels, it defies explanation.
That was easier to do. But unlike in the episode, our community doesn't respond with distrust and suspicion. Instead of the AMRs turning on McCoy, you get together with your peers to investigate the strange phenomena, compare notes with your FYMs and RAs, and test your hypotheses with faculty. I have faith that would you have been able to discover what's behind these events in no time, and in doing so, you would demonstrate that the Twilight Zone's dim view of human nature was severely misguided. So, class of 2025, my call to you is this: speak openly and freely with one another, and also listen intently and generously. Challenge ideas you disagree with, and invite others to challenge your ideas. And do so in a manner that calls people in rather than calling some people out. And if the next Pentagon report finally does reveal that UFOs are already among us, I'll hope that you invite the extraterrestrials into the conversation too. Bon voyage. Welcome again to Johns Hopkins University.
Thank you, President Daniels. Please remain at the lectern for the class banner presentation. I would also ask Anika Penn, trustee and president of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, to step forward.
Each year, the Alumni Association asks the newest class to design a banner to show their pride, a tradition that dates back to 1881. This year, Reunion and Homecoming Ambassador alumni voted on the top submitted designs, and the final decision was placed in your hands. I am pleased to announce the winner of the Class of 2025 banner was designed by Jaya Hampkins. At this time, I would like to call Jaya to the stage.
On behalf of the class of 2025, I present you with our banner to be hung in the Eisenhower Library at Johns Hopkins.
Terrific, congratulations. Over there.
Thanks, Jaya. Alumni around the world are devoted to Johns Hopkins, and we are proud to see that same excitement in the next generation of students. Let's hear from them about what you will experience here.
Welcome to Hopkins.
Welcome, New Blue Jays.
Welcome to Hopkins.
We're really glad that you're here.
There's truly something for everyone here.
And if you see something that looks exciting or maybe even just a little interesting, you can go up and ask them if you can join in.
Everyone at Hopkins is friendly. That's a fact.
Some of my favorite organizations on campus are the a cappella groups, or my personal favorite, the Octopodes.
My favorite student group that I'm in is called the Hopkins Podcast on Foreign Affairs. It's completely student run. We talk about international relations and global politics with experts in the field.
The newsletter's been really meaningful and important for me for my time at Hopkins because it helped me really feel like I was a part of the community.
I've loved being a part of the Hopkins athletic community, and there's so many ways for new students to get involved, whether it be joining an intramural or club team or just coming out and supporting all Hopkins athletics teams at their sporting events.
My two favorite clubs I've got would be Hopkins Sport Taekwondo and MedTech Network.
Don't be afraid to explore, especially things that you might not think align with what you want to do.
What I liked the most about Baltimore was enjoying the first snowfall of the year with friends.
I know one of my favorite parts at being at JHU was experiencing Baltimore.
Get ice cream from Be More Lakes, go up Federal Hill for an amazing view of the city.
The sunsets down there are really beautiful, and there are tons of museums, so I really encourage y'all to get out there whenever you can.
Whether it's just walking around Hopkins' campus, going to the harbor with some friends to visit the aquarium, or walking to the Charmery to treat yourself to some well-deserved ice cream, you guys can rest assured that you'll always have something fun to do when you guys have a break in between classes.
You have so much to look forward to, from the thrill of first day classes to the lighting of the quads in the winter.
It happens right before finals begin, and it's a really great way to take a break from studying and to kind of hang out with your friends right before the holidays begin.
All the string lights on campus get lit up at the same time, and there's fireworks, and it's all around a really great time.
We're so glad that you're here. Congratulations and welcome to Hopkins.
Good evening. My name is Chris Chalenza, and I'm the Dean of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences. On behalf of my colleagues and all of our students, I welcome the members of the class of 2025 and our new transfer students to the Hopkins family. We are so glad you're joining Johns Hopkins University. You're at the start of an important and joyful journey, full of discovery, opportunity, explorations, and new horizons. You're about to meet some of the people who'll become lifelong friends, mentors, and key members of your personal and professional networks. You're also about to confront new ideas, new approaches, and maybe even new fields that will challenge you to shift your perspective and to consider things in unexpected ways. You'll start developing your own original ideas, and you'll add those to the current of scholarship. I want to encourage you to spread your wings too and soar as far outside of your comfort zone as you can. Take a class in a subject you've never heard of. Try a new sport on an intramural team. Join a club or 2 or 3. And especially find time to get off campus and engage with Baltimore. It is a magnificent city. It's a microcosm of our world, and it's a place from which you can learn a great deal. Among the classroom, the wider university, and the city we all now call home, you're going to gain the knowledge, skills, and insights to make a real difference in the world. We can't wait to watch and to do the work alongside you. So now I'm very pleased to introduce my colleague and friend Ed Schlesinger, the Benjamin T. Rome Dean of the Whiting School of Engineering.
Thank you, Dean Chalenza, and I want to add my welcome to the Homewood campus and to the Johns Hopkins community, to all of our new students. Community is a word we've heard a lot this evening, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately as well. What it means to belong to one, and what the responsibilities of membership are. Until the pandemic, I don't think I ever felt so much a part of the global community. And I know it's because all of humankind suddenly was linked through this shared and unprecedented experience. But even though we were physically isolated from each other, I realized also never before had I felt so connected to the Johns Hopkins community. And this is because at Hopkins, we were all united in battling a common adversary, COVID-19. Across the university, the immediate response to COVID-19 was, how can I use my expertise to help my community? And the innovations that were born here in engineering, as well as across the university, have been phenomenal. There is the COVID-19 map and dashboard created by Hopkins engineers that remains the world's go-to source for understanding the virus's spread and impact. And there are the new mask materials and online activities for Baltimore City elementary schools that our students created, for example. We came together to improve people's lives. So here's what I want you to think about. You have the privilege of attending Johns Hopkins, and with privilege comes responsibility, including a responsibility to your community, whether that's your new community on the Homewood campus, Baltimore City, or the global community. One way to demonstrate responsibility to our community and to ourselves is through adherence to the vaccination, masking, and social distancing protocols in place in Baltimore and on the Homewood campus. It's only through this shared responsibility that we all will be able to thrive and end the pandemic and the health threat it represents to everyone. But working to end COVID and its impact is not the only way you can contribute to a better world, nor is it the only global challenge we face. You also can improve and inspire a new generation of students by volunteering in our neighborhood schools, or working on even larger scale. You can choose to direct your studies and career to mitigating the impacts of climate change or addressing issues related to a growing, aging population. You already have proven that you can rise to the occasion and under extremely trying circumstances, and now you have the resources, the drive, the creativity to make a difference, to help your community. I can't wait to see what you will do. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Johns Hopkins. Congratulations, class of 2025, and all of our transfer students. And now, let me hand the podium over to Vice Provost Kevin Schollenberger.
Thank you, Dean Schlesinger. Great to see all of you. I'm going to actually ask our student leaders on stage to join me for this next part. And I'm actually going to ask all of you to stand to participate in this Hopkins call and response tradition. So as we conclude the ceremony tonight, I want to remind you that you will be forever. All right, one more time. Forever. Great. So welcome our newest Blue Jays. Great to see you all. There we go. Welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to Provost Kumar.
Thank you, Kevin. And thanks to all the student leaders. We can't think of a better way to end today's ceremony. Before we end the ceremony, I have two quick housekeeping notes. Please be seated and remain seated until the stage party has departed. And as you leave the quad this evening, remember to take your class shirt, a gift from the Johns Hopkins Parents Fund, and your dessert. I wouldn't get my aspirations up too high, but. With that, the ceremony is now concluded.